Hi friends, today we are starting new chapter that is mechanics. In mechanics, we learn some of the definitions like motion, speed, velocity, acceleration, and we move on to some other concept. First we learn the definition of motion. In physics, motion is the change of location or position of an object with respect to time. See the picture. The picture shows the motion of a ball. The dotted line shows the motion, how the ball is moved. This dotted line shows the motion of the ball. There are two types of motion. One is transitional and another one is rotational. Transitional motion is also called as a linear and rotational motion is also called as a spin. Motion is change of location. There are two types of motion. One is linear and another one is spin. Now we'll move on to speed. The speed of a moving body is the rate at which it covers distance. That is the distance covered per unit time. Speed of a moving body is the rate at which it covers the distance. Speed is equals to distance travelled divided by time required. The SI unit of speed is meter per second. Speed is nothing but distance travelled divided by time taken. What do you mean by uniform speed? If the object covers equal distances in equal interval of time is called as a uniform speed. That means if a vehicle is moving with a constant speed means it is a uniform speed. That means that vehicle covers equal distance in equal interval of time. For example, if it covers 30 kilometers in 1 hour and again it covers another 30 kilometers in 1 hour, so that in that case we call it as a uniform speed. If the speed of the body is changing with respect to time is called as a non-uniform speed. That is, if a vehicle covers 30 kilometers in 1 hour and in next 1 hour it covers 40 kilometers, then that speed is called as a non-uniform speed. Speed, that once again we learn about speed. Speed is the rate at which it covers distance. Speed can be calculated as distance travelled divided by time taken. The SI unit of speed is meter per second. Uniform speed means if a object covers equal distance in equal interval of time, then it is called as a uniform speed. If a speed of the body is changing with respect to time, that is, if the object covers unequal distances in equal interval of time, then it is called as a non-uniform speed. Now we learn about velocity. Velocity, the distance covered by an object in a specified direction of unit time interval is called as a velocity. That is, the distance covered by a object in a specified direction. For example, if a vehicle is moving in the east direction about 30 kilometers in 1 hour, then that is called as a velocity. The SI unit of velocity is meter per second. Average velocity can be calculated by dividing displacement over time. That is, average velocity is the ratio of displacement by time. The instantaneous velocity shows the velocity of an object at one point. What do you mean by difference between what is the difference between speed and velocity? Speed is the distance travelled by an object in a particular time. Velocity is the speed in particular direction. Speed means it is the distance traveled by time. I mean distance traveled by an object in a given time. But velocity is speed of the object in a particular direction. Next, acceleration. When an object moves, when an object's velocity changes, it accelerates. That means acceleration means it is the rate of change of velocity. That is, acceleration is equals to velocity divided by time. Acceleration shows the change in velocity in a unit time. That is only velocity is equals to acceleration is equals to velocity divided by time. Velocity is measured in meter per second. That is meter per second, m divided by s. So acceleration is measured meter per second square. Velocity unit is meter per second. Time unit is second. So acceleration is equals to velocity divided by time. So acceleration unit is meter per second square. Acceleration can be positive or negative. The symbol for acceleration is A. Acceleration may be positive or negative. A, small letter A represents the acceleration. When the velocity decreases, the body is said to be the velocity decreases is said to be decelerated motion. That is, if the velocity of the object decreases, then that type of motion is called as a decelerated motion. In this type of motion, acceleration will be negative. Next, acceleration due to gravity. Galileo was the first to find out all objects falling to earth have a constant acceleration of 9.8 meter per second square regardless of their mass. The acceleration due to gravity was found out by Galileo. He said that all the objects falling to earth with a constant acceleration, that is 9.8 meter per second square, regardless of mass, means whatever may be the mass. If a mass of 1 kg, if a cotton, it is a lightweight, it also falls to earth with a acceleration 9.8 meter per second square. Iron is a heavy weighted body that also falls on earth with a acceleration 9.8 meter per second square. Acceleration due to gravity is given by a symbol small g, and the value of small g is equals to 9.8 meter per second square. The unit of acceleration due to gravity is meter per second square. Next, force. Force can be defined as a push or pull. Force means it is a push or pull. Technically, force is something that can accelerate objects. Force means, if you may know that in some of the shops there will be a glass doors. From one side we are pushing the door, or from another side we are pulling the door. That push or pull is known as force. That means we are applying some force to push the door or to pull the door. Force can be defined as a push or a pull. Technically, force is something that can accelerate objects. Force is measured by Newton. The unit of force is Newton. Force, a force that causes an object with a mass of 1 kg to accelerate 1 meter per second is equivalent to 1 Newton. The definition of 1 Newton is equals to a force that causes an object with a mass of 1 kg to accelerate at 1 meter per second is equivalent to 1 Newton. Next, Newton's law of gravitation. Newton's law of gravitation states that a very massive particle in the universe attracts other massive particles with a force which is directly proportional to the product of their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distances between them. That is, F is directly proportional to m1 and m2 if m1 and m2 are the masses of two objects, and F is inversely proportional to 1 by r square. That is, F is inversely proportional to r square. That is, F is equals to 1 by r square, where r is the distance between the two masses. That is, in equation form, the gravitational force is equals to F is equals to G m1 and m2 divided by r square. That is, F is proportional to m1 into m2 divided by r square. If we remove the proportionality symbol, we get G, that is F is equals to G m1 and m2 divided by r square, where r is the distance between two bodies, m1 and m2 are the masses of two bodies, where G is the universal gravitational constant. That is, the Newton's law of gravitation says that a very massive particle in the universe attracts other massive particles with a force that is directly proportional to the product of the masses and inversely proportional to the distances between them. In equation form, F is equals to G m1 into m2 divided by r square. Next, we move on to centripetal force. For a body to move in a circle, there must be a force on it directed towards the center. This is called as a centripetal force. See the picture. Here one person holds the thread. The thread is holds the ball. That ball is tied to a thread and the thread is held by a person. That person is rotating the ball in a circular direction. That is, see the first arrow, reaction force. That is, he is applying the force in this direction, whereas the centripetal force acting in the opposite direction. Simply, centripetal force means it is a force which attracts towards the center. So that, see, the direction of the centripetal force is always towards the center. This is the formal definition. For a body to move in a circle, there must be a force which is directed towards the center. This is called as a centripetal force, and it is necessary to produce continuous change of direction in a circular motion. This centripetal force is the reason, the centripetal force is the reason to move the ball in a circular path. Next, the magnitude of the centripetal force of an object of mass m moving at a speed v along a path with a radius of curvature r is given by the relation F is equals to mv square divided by r. The magnitude of the centripetal force is the ratio of mass and the speed, where unto the radius of curvature r. Next, the direction of the force is towards the center of the circle in which an object is moving. I said already, the centripetal force is always acts towards the center. That means the direction of the centripetal force is always towards the center. Next, centrifugal force is equals to the equal and opposite to centripetal force. That is, it acts outward. We know that centripetal force acts towards the center of the circle, whereas the centrifugal force always acts outward direction. Next, weight. The weight of the body is the force with which the earth attracts the other body towards its center. Simply, the weight of the body is the force with which the earth attracts the body towards its center. The weight of the body should not be confused with mass. Mass is different and weight is different, which is measure of quantity of matter contained in it. Mass is the measure of the quantity of matter contained in it. Mass shows the quantity, whereas weight shows the size of the gravity. This is the major difference. Mass shows the quantity, that weight shows the size of the gravity. The weight of the body is maximum at the poles and minimum at the equator. The weight of the body is maximum at poles and minimum at equator. If you know your mass, you can easily find out your weight, because Fw is equals to mg, where W is the weight, m is the mass, g is the acceleration due to gravity. SI unit of weight is Newton. Now, it is obvious that the value of g is maximum at poles and minimum at equator, and at the center of the earth g would be 0. The value of the g is maximum at poles, minimum at equators, and at the center of the earth its value be 0. It should be noted here that on the surface of the moon, the value of acceleration due to gravity is nearly 1/6 of the earth. The acceleration due to gravity on moon is equals to the 1/6 times of acceleration due to gravity on the earth. So, an object on the moon would be weighing only 1/6 weight of earth. For example, if the weight of an object on the earth is about 6 kg, then the weight of the same object on the moon is equals to 1/6 into 6, that is equals to 1 kg. 1 kg, that is acceleration due to the weight of the object on moon is equals to 1/6 times of the acceleration weight on the 1/6 of the weight on the earth. Now we will study the Newton's law of motion. Newton's first law of motion. Newton's first law of motion states that a body remains in the state of rest or a uniform motion in a straight line unless and until an external force acts on it. See the picture. In the first picture, the ball is at rest. Next, in the second picture, we are applying some force on the ball. In the third picture, the ball is moving. And in the last picture, goal is occurred. That is, in the first picture, the body is at rest. That is, a body remains in the state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line. It is in a straight line unless and until an external force acts on it. So, when we apply the force on the ball, it starts moving. This Newton's first law states that only a body remains in a state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line unless and until an external force act on it. This is the Newton's first law of motion. In fact, it is the natural tendency of an object to resist changes in their state of motion. This is the natural tendency of every object. The tendency to resist changes in their state of motion is described as inertia. That is, for example, if we have exam tomorrow, our moms will start shouting at us, and before our moms shouting, we will not at all get up, and we will not show any interest for reading. This is only Newton's first law of motion. Sorry, just joking. Inertia, that is, it is the tendency of the object to resist changes in its state of motion. Simply, inertia is it is refusing to show any action. In physics, we state it as inertia is a tendency of an object to resist changes on its motion on its state of motion. But what is meant by the phase of state of motion? The state of motion of an object is defined by its velocity, the speed with a direction. Thus, inertia could be redefined as follows. Inertia is a tendency of an object to resist changes in its velocity. Inertia is a tendency of an object to resist the changes in the state of motion, or inertia is a tendency of an object to resist changes in its velocity. There are many applications of Newton's first law of motion. Here I am saying one, that is, when a car brakes quickly, the passenger will be thrown forwards because inertia tries to keep the passengers moving. That is, when a person in a car is at rest, when we are applying the brakes suddenly, the person will move forward. This is the example for Newton's first law of motion. Next, Newton's second law of motion. The acceleration of an object as produced by a net force is directly proportional to the magnitude of the net force in the same direction as the net force, and inversely proportional to the mass of the object. The acceleration of an object produced by a net force is directly proportional to the magnitude of the net force in the same. First we'll learn this sentence. The acceleration of an object as produced by a net force is directly proportional to the magnitude of the net force in the same direction of the net force, and it is inversely proportional to the mass of the object. See the picture. In the first picture, the ball mass is 400 kg. So the person applying maximum force to push that ball. In the second picture, the ball is of 40 kg and that man is easily pushing that ball. He is saying in this picture shows the second law of Newton, that is, the acceleration of an object as produced by a net force is directly proportional to the magnitude of the net force in the same direction as the net force, and inversely proportional to the mass of the object. That is, this ball's acceleration is very low because its mass is not very low, not much low. That acceleration of that ball of 400 kg depends on the mass and force. If he is applying more force for 400 kg ball, that acceleration of that ball is high. But because of that force, because of that 400 kg mass, that man is applying very less force. I mean, he's not able to push that ball. But in the second picture, it is a 40 kg ball. So he is applying less force to move the ball. So the acceleration depends upon the mass of the object and the force applying on the object. That is, this statement can be written in equation form, that is A is proportional to F by A, where F is the net force and A is the mass of the object. M is the mass of the object. So A is proportional to F by M. Next, A is equals to F by M. So F is equals to M into A. That is, force is equals to product of magnitude, force is product of mass and acceleration of the object. The relationship between an object mass M and its acceleration A is applied, and the applied force F is equals to A is equals to F by M. So F is equals to M into A. Acceleration and force are vectors. Here acceleration A and F are vectors. In this law, the direction of the force vector is same as the direction of acceleration vector. That is, the force and the acceleration are in the same direction. Example for second law of motion. Two people are walking. Among the two people walking, if one is heavier than the other, the one weighing heavier will walk slower because the acceleration of the person weighing lighter is greater. That is, if the two persons are walking, one person is of heavy mass and that means he is fat, and another person is very thin. So very thin person is moving freely, and that means his acceleration is high, whereas the fat person cannot move easily, so the acceleration is slow. Next, Newton's third law of motion. Newton's third law of motion states that for every action there is a equal and opposite reaction. See the picture. I will show like this. See the picture. This is an example for Newton's third law of motion. Here you may see in picture the rocket launching videos in YouTube or any in TV. You can see that while the rocket is launching, it produces large amount of energy, that is hot gas, comes from out of the rocket. Then only the rocket moves upwards. That is, this statement means that in every interaction there is a pair of force acting on the two interacting objects. In this picture, the two interacting objects are one is earth and another one is rocket. The size of the forces on the first object equal to the size of the force on the second object. That is, the force for the two objects will be same. The direction of the force on the first object is opposite to the direction of the force on the second object. That is, see the picture. Here force on the gases is in downward direction, whereas the force on the rocket is in the upward direction. So forces are, that is Forces always comes in pairs, equal and opposite action and reaction force pairs. See the example for Newton's third law is rocket launching. The rocket's action is to push down the ground with the force on its powerful engines, and the reaction is the ground pushes the rocket upwards with an equal force. That is, it pushes the ground, that means it pushes the earth with a powerful with force. The result reaction will be the rocket moves upwards. In the same way, there is also an example for shooting of cannonballs. When a cannonball is fired through the air, the cannon is pushed backward. The force pushing the ball out is equals to the force pushing the cannon back. But the effect of cannon is less noticeable because it has the much larger mass. That example is similar to a kick when a gun fires bullet forward. Another one example for Newton's third law of motion is that is shooting of gun. If you shoot by a gun, the gun moves little backward direction. As a result, the bullet moves from the gun and it moves forward direction. Next, we'll move on to friction. Friction is a force that resists the movement of one surface over the other. Friction is a force that resists the movement of one surface over the other. Friction means it is a just resistance. See the picture. The blue one and the purple one and green one are the two objects. They are moving. Both are moving. So pushing of purple is in one direction, but the friction is in another direction. Pushing force and motion will be in the same direction, whereas the friction is always in the opposite direction. The force act in the opposite direction to the way an object wants to slide. If a car needs to stop sign, it slows because the friction between the brake and the wheels. Measure of friction are based on the type of material that are in contact. Concrete has a very high coefficient of friction. That the coefficient is a measure of how easily one object moves in a relationship to another. When you have a high coefficient of friction, you have a lot of friction between the materials. Actually, in this friction, the definition is important. That is, friction is the force that resists the movement of one surface over the another surface. This friction is always opposite to the applying force and motion of the objects. See the picture. Thank you.